that it's easy for me to understand the duality of life. You know, what goes up must come down. I don't get too attached to anything or anyone because I know that I'm not permanent here. No one else is. That's the name of the game. We're all on this transient ride that can change at any minute. As I know that I'm not permanent, then nothing else is permanent. And in this reality, the only creation that I create has to expire at some point. It has to, at some point, be uncool. You know, nothing stays cool forever. You get it, right? So why am I going to stress myself being worried about any outcome when all outcomes are disposable? Because it's only a matter of time before that solution is no longer the smartest solution, and then another one has to naturally be explored. Because how else does one evolve and grow and come into their own if they're not willing to trust the process and show that trust by risking it all? Risking it all just for the beauty of the ride, for the possibility of discovering something new, just for the ability to reach higher and discover new heights. All of that requires trust, and you can't trust if you don't know when to let go. Birth and death are connected for that reason. It's the circle of life. Aries, Scorpio, I need you to come sit on my couch. If you have Aries rising or Scorpio rising, your life is going to be plagued with chaos. Now, the people I really want to speak to are the people who have this placement or these two placements at the fourth house. Fourth house in astrology rules our home. Our home is our roots. Our roots is where we get our tradition from, our sense of comfort, our sense of safety, our sense of emotional integrity, emotional balance, emotional consciousness. Healing maternal energy is in our fourth house. So when a person has these two signs, Aries and Scorpio, in that placement, it means they've had the worst childhood ever. These two signs bring war and destruction. And in the case of Scorpio, you can add a little sprinkle of jealousy, psychological warfare, intertwined with a little bit of spiritual control and spiritual damage. Because when you're a Scorpio, you have a lot of spiritual power. Scorpio is the very first spiritual zodiac sign out of everyone. So the power that Scorpio holds is loud because it's the first time it's introduced. Now, after Scorpio, all the other ones have it too. In fact, Pisces has the most. But Scorpio is the first time that God has given spiritual powers to humans. And let me tell you, when you're the first to do anything, people hate it. Later, history writes the story as, oh, he was honorable, he did this. Like, think about anyone that's ever been the first to do anything. People don't like the first. People don't respect the first. And they certainly do not honor the first. When you have these placements in your home, your family is your biggest hater. The people that are going to hate you the most, that are going to sabotage you the most, that are going to go out of their way to try to destroy you, destroy your finances, particularly for Scorpio, you know, destroy your stability, destroy your confidence, that's Aries, destroy your willpower, that's Aries, destroy your sense of identity, you know, like they won't honor, they refuse to honor the fact that you're different from them. They hate that. For some reason, it irks them. And every day that they're breathing on this earth, they want to remind you that your different status is bad and it needs to be crushed. So from childhood, these people are under attack. You know, their spiritual essence is under attack. Their ability to believe in themselves, to go for the things they want, to own their inner sense of power, their confidence, their self-esteem, all of that is under attack from day one. These signs are ruled by Mars. Mars is about war, violence, destruction. Scorpio in fourth house, it gets more twisted. That's where the spiritual warfare comes in. That's where they're trying to tell you that spiritually what you believe is bad because what they believe is the only right way. and they want you to lose all hope in yourself so that they can control you, because deep down they know they have an ace. They know they have somebody in the family that has power, that God has anointed for something special. But because it's not them, they have issues with it. Because it's not them, they have to fight it. They have to destroy it. They have to challenge it. Aries, Scorpio 4th house, I'm sorry to say this to you. My advice for these people, number one, move away from your biological family. Your biological family is not your soul family, okay? Your biological family is the training ground where you learn how to recognize a hater very early on. You learn how to fine-tune your instincts and your intuition. You learn how to detect when your gut is saying no, even though your heart wants to say yes. Your biological family is where you learned how the heart can break, how your heart can break from betrayal, from rejection, from judgment, from being made to feel like you're less of a human being because you don't follow the rules. You don't want to be like them. You're nothing like them. God has made you to be different from them, because oftentimes you guys are also the generational curse breakers in your family. And if you're Aries, you're the first to do it. So yes, of course they're not gonna like you, because when you do it with power, you do it with conviction, you do it with confidence, you go for it. You do the things that never imagined you could do. And every time you succeed, you remind them that they're wrong. And they don't want to accept that, because you two are born into families of narcissists. There's a lot of narcissistic abuse in these families. People who have Aries and Scorpio in their 4th house. This is exactly why when these people don't heal, they bring that same toxicity to all their other relationships, because they think relationship is competition.
Need Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn to come and sit on my couch. I hope you guys have finally learned what it means to be a responsible adult, and what you're responsible for, and what falls outside of your responsibility. You see, since November 27, 2008, Pluto has been in the sign of Capricorn, and Capricorn is all about responsibility, hard work, and karma. So if life has been difficult, that's why. And it got particularly even more difficult around December 19th, 2017, because that's when Saturn entered Capricorn. So imagine having Saturn in Capricorn and Pluto in Capricorn for those 3 years. It's been literally hell on earth for all the cardinal zodiac signs, and that would be Libra, Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn. I apologize for the orange tongue. I'm eating a turmeric salad, and that's what that looks like. Stay with me, okay? Stay right here. This is what I need you to know. The karmic contracts that you signed before you manifested here on earth is done. It's burned. It's done. You're no longer responsible for the people that God has sent you to help who did not want to receive your help. That shut the door in your face. You give them love, they give you hatred, right? You give them blessing, they give you bad energy. Okay, done. You don't have to keep the door open anymore. You're not responsible for them anymore. They're grown anyways. I mean, these are not your children. These are grown adults. Fully capable adults who are choosing to do things in a way that is harming them. Who are you to stand in the way of their karma? You get out the way. Let them do what they do. Let them collect what they collect. Now, the karma that you have been facing since 2008, Pisces and Virgo are getting a taste of that right now. It started for them just recently. They've got a couple more years to go to get a taste of that same energy. And then when Pluto gets into Aquarius, it's about to get even more heated. Aquarius is going to be going through what we have been going through since 2008. It has been an ass whooping, a major ass whooping, with a lot of very deeply humbling moments that bring you back to yourself in the most transcendent kind of way, because you cannot run away from yourself. And that's the thing about karma. You can't just do bad things and think that you're just gonna no, that's not how it works. The universe is constantly in a complete state of balance. Whenever you take action that disturbs that balance, you have to be responsible for that. You have to repay good energy towards the bad energy that you gave on earth, so you can be rebalanced. And that's what these four have accomplished. Now on to Scorpio and Sagittarius. This new moon that's happening in Scorpio on November 1st is opening your door to a new beginning. because now Pluto's gone direct in Capricorn. The lessons that needed to be learned have been learned. Some of them still need to be learned with the collective. Actually, when we get into Pluto in Aquarius, it's going to get even more intensified. So there's no ending to that anytime soon. I need you to know that, because the truth is going to come to light during Pluto in Aquarius, which is what Cat Williams was getting to when he sat down and started this, gate that opened up all this Diddy stuff and Abercrombie and Fitch, and you get it. There's more of it coming, is all I'm saying. The four of you who have learned not to overplay your position of power, meaning trying to dominate other people with your power because you see them as small, so you want to pick on them and make them feel smaller. You've learned that, right? You've learned that's not going to work out for you. You're going to have to pay for that one way or the other. Or trying to act like you have no power while you allow other people to make decisions in your life that deeply affect you. Yeah, you've learned that too. That power is a tricky thing. You've got to own it. And you've got to stand behind it. This is why Capricorn rules the 10th house, because the 10th house is actually the most powerful house in your entire chart. Because you can't run away from yourself. You are your power. Your DNA is your power. Your fiber, your being is your power. It's not about things. It's about you and the energy that you carry. So when you are not yielding your power and your sense of responsibility correctly, you create corruption on earth and chaos on earth and madness on earth that inadvertently finds its way back to you. And the truth will set you free. This is what this new moon in Scorpio is bringing you. Now, for you four, I hope this has given you insight into how difficult it is to be a Scorpio Sun, Moon, or Rising, or a Scorpio Stellium, because Scorpio is literally plagued with this incessant process of self-destruction and rebirth that literally never ends. And it starts very early. All Scorpios have a history with emotional trauma from childhood at a very young age, where they've had to face betrayals, rejection, or abandonment. Does that sound familiar? Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn? Yeah, it's been a lot of that since 2008. But here's the thing, you survived all of it, and now you're here, and now you know what you deserve, and now you know what you want entertained. Now your boundaries are a lot more clear. Now you know what's for you and what isn't for you. You don't have to test it to know. Now you trust yourself. So mission accomplished. Pisces and Virgo are going to be going through a similar process. This new moon in Scorpio is bringing into focus our relationships, not just in terms of other people, but also with ourselves. It's about how much should we trust ourselves, how much should we love ourselves, and how much should we tell ourselves the truth about who we are. Sagittarius energy is all about the truth. Sagittarius literally cannot function in falsehood. That's not how they were made. This is why Sagittarius is the worst liar that you can ever meet, because even when they try to lie, it doesn't even sound right, because they're naturally made to tell the truth. And that's why people hate Sagittarius, because their truth hurts and people don't want to hear it. They say they want the truth until you give it to them, because that truth is in that mirror they don't want to look at. And that's why when I speak, I tend to ruffle a lot of feathers, because my Mercury is a Sagittarius with a Scorpio degree. I can't help but speak the truth. I don't even know how to lie to you if I tried. If you think I'm lying to you, it's because I am miscommunicating with you. Because let me tell you, there is not a fiber of my being that has any desire to lie to anybody. Because I don't give a fuck about anybody that much to want to impress them. Liars lies because they want to impress. I don't care. Generally, from the bottom of my African soul, I do not give a fuck. Because the truth is the truth, and the truth is from God. You may like it, you may hate it. I don't care. It is what it is. Deal with it. You're grown, right? You're grown, right? You're an adult. Deal with it. Either you want to face it and grow from it, or you want to pretend it's not there and pretend you're not you and pretend you're not doing the evil things you're doing. Either way, you choose. It's not my business. But if you come in my energy, what we're not doing is two-faced energy, baby. I love you. No, I don't do that. That's not in my nature. I'm way too real and authentic for that kind of game. All Scorpios have deep scars rooted in these toxic situations I went through as a child, and it's affected their relationships even today in a very powerful way that I don't even know most of them are aware of. Their fear of intimacy, their fear of trust, their fear of vulnerability is deeply rooted in that emotional pain they're running away from. The people pleasing, the avoidance, the self-sabotage, the controlling, the manipulation, the jealousy, the lies, all of that is Scorpio basically reenacting, the emotional trauma of their childhood. There is incredible power and wisdom that comes from facing your darkness. There's no such thing as running away from your shadow. Everything has a shadow. Even the moon has a shadow. And you thought you could run from yourself. It takes courage to be yourself, to own yourself, to stand by yourself. And Scorpio and Sagittarius are very good at courage. For you six, primarily, this is going to be a huge cosmic window to reshape your life. Now that you're done with the Pluto stuff, what kind of life do you want for yourself? It's time to write that new story and let go of the insecurities and the fears. Because if anything, you should have learned that you can't count on nobody but yourself. So trust yourself, love yourself, tell yourself the truth, and move on boldly.
Today's episode of Psychology versus Spirituality, let's talk about the meaning of the word ego within both contexts. Ego death. In the world of psychology, there's no such thing as ego death because you cannot destroy your ego. You need it. Your ego is what responds to your needs as a human being. Your ego assesses the worth and value that you put on yourself. So it's impossible to be alive as a human being and also experience an ego death. That expression should be id death. In the world of psychology, the id is what we're referring to when we're talking about the ego. You see, the id is the childlike part of us. It is the part of us that wants what we want when we want it. The ego is a part of us that determines whether we deserve it or not. And the superego is a part of us that talks us into or out of those decisions. As an example, I'm driving down the road. I see a beautiful car at a stop sign. I like the car. I want the car. The id is saying, I want that. I like that. That's mine. The ego says, I deserve that. But then my superego kicks in and goes, but that's not yours. You didn't pay for it. It's not registered under your name. You don't have the right to have that car. Besides, you can't take that car from somebody else that car belongs to. What kind of person just goes and takes something that doesn't belong to them? And more importantly, if you are that kind of wretched person that does that kind of behavior, you run the risk of getting arrested and being thrown in jail or prison for taking property that doesn't belong to you. So the superego is the adult. It's the adult voice in all of us that mitigates between our animalistic instincts and our sense of worth, if you want to think about it that way. It's okay to have desires, but what's wrong with a lot of people is that they don't mitigate their desires against the reality of life. Your ego is supposed to modulate between your animalistic instincts, your id, and your superego. So having a big ego isn't the problem. Having a big ego that is unmanaged absolutely is the problem. And this is where emotional intelligence, self-awareness, social emotional learning comes in, and many people simply never got any of those skills. So they think, I want, I get, and that's the end of it. And for many of them, it's not until the police or the authorities get involved that they go, yeah, I shouldn't have gotten that. And for some of them, even after that, they still think they deserved it. So that could be a mental illness, but that's a conversation for another day. But the bottom line is ego death in the world of spirituality simply means having an ego that is healthy. A healthy ego is an ego that is no longer functioning out of its primary kind of primitive animalistic drive. It's an ego now that is being managed. We're using our brains, we're using our common sense, we're using our hearts to feel the pain we're inflicting upon others, and we're making decisions that are best for ourselves and for them.